Bible House Network.
Hello, freaks. Welcome to Behind the Mask. This is The Lush, here with Riverman.
Hey, what's up?
Riverman. This is our maiden voyage, man. The first show. We're going to fuck around with some different things. We're still toying with format, so nothing in this show is going to be set in stone.
No, it's going to be a pretty rough first show, so bear with us here.
Bear with us, please.
Yeah.
But we hope, we're having fun right now, and we hope you have fun listening to us. This is why we're doing it, man. We love movies. We love watching them and talking about them, and we want, everybody else to do the same. We want people to get excited about these movies that we're watching that, a lot of people don't usually get to see, which is a goddamn shame. So that's what we're going to try to do with the show, not necessarily bring the underground to the mainstream, but try to bring more people to the underground down here with us. So yeah.
Let us give a little format for what we want to do with our podcast. We want to do like a news segment first. We're gonna work our way into maybe doing a music segment, and of course we're gonna do an in-depth review. Maybe we'll do a double bill, but for this first show, we're actually just going to be reviewing one flick. It's called Singapore Sling, and we'll get a little more into that once another couple segments. But yeah, we have party flicks for you. We have movies to clear a room. Well, next week we'll have a 6 questions with, hopefully blank. Yeah, we're not going to tell you right now, but. Yeah, we have 6 questions with, and hopefully it's, it might not be the A-class celebrities, but they're
somebody special that I think, fans of the kind of movies that we like. I think you'll like it. It'll be special.
They're A-class to us. In our hearts.
Exactly.
So that'll be exciting.
What else are we gonna do? Do a little news. Things that we're, kind of excited about that I think everybody else should be excited about. I think that's pretty much going to be the first show, I think.
Yeah, so in that, let's get a little into the news. What news do we have this week, Lush?
All right, well, first thing we got is some festival convention stuff coming up here. The first one we got here is Spooky Empire's Mayhem, which is the 27th through the 29th in Orlando. Looked like it'd be a pretty good one. Crypticon coming up in Seattle on same weekend, 27th through the 29th. That one has Bill Moseley, PJ Souls, a bunch of other people. And the last one that I was looking into that they just announced their lineup was Rue Morgue's Festival of Fear. They're going to have people like Robert Englund, John Waters, Elvira, Tom Savini, a bunch more. It'll be a pretty cool one.
Is that in Canada or?
Yeah. It's the 25th, August 25th through the 28th in Toronto. So if you are up that way, or if you want to get up that way, go check that festival out. It's going to be pretty cool. Some upcoming DVDs. Nothing. For May 17th, nothing that you want to fucking jump out of your seat for. The Right with Anthony Hopkins.
Have you seen The Right yet?
I have not seen that.
I haven't either.
Anthony Hopkins looked fucking creepy in that. Yeah. He did.
I wasn't a big... I wasn't running to the theaters to go see it, let's just say that.
No, I mean, we had kind of a slew of possession movies.
Yeah.
This past year or two. Which I think one of the better ones was what do you call it? The Last Exorcism.
Oh, The Last Exorcism is awesome.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
That Professor Lasky is...
Professor Lasky. Fuck yeah, man. Jeremiah Lasky.
Yeah. It's always good to bring back Professor Lasky. His acting was actually pretty solid.
He was awesome, yeah. He was great.
I love the ending, too. Everybody bashes on the ending and says it sucks and
fantastic.
all that. I really enjoyed that movie.
I was just glad he took a break from banging Kelly Kapowski to do the movie. I was happy about that.
I wonder Zach Morris is pretty pissed off at him for stealing his fling there.
I think he moved on to his second TNT show, though.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
I think he's all right. I don't even know what the fuck it's called.
Makes you wonder what AC's doing, too, these days, besides...
he's on Extra.
Oh, Extra. That's right. Yeah.
Selling his fucking soul is basically what he's doing right now.
I gotta tell you, Saved by the Bell is still one of my favorite shows.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
I love it.
I'll have to try to get up early again one of these days because I think it runs on TBS at
TBS
7 a.m. here where we're talking to you from. But
my brother stole all my. I had all the seasons of Saved by the Bell.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I gotta grab those back from him and hopefully recheck those out for like the 50th time because they never get old. Just like Seinfeld, it's like a show you can watch over and over again.
Oh, definitely.
Never get tired of it. So
no, and I think it just kind of gets funnier and funnier.
Yeah, exactly.
As the years go on, it just gets better and better. I was kind of distracted there by the breasts on the TV.
Sorry guys. Let's get back into the upcoming DVDs and we got The Right.
The Right. The Roommate, which is a complete rip-off of Single White Female.
That looks like garbage.
Don't even know why I mentioned that. Piece of crap, probably.
Oh, man, I bet.
Don't waste your time. Vanishing on 7th Street, I believe that stars Hayden Christensen.
Really?
Pretty sure it's currently cable on demand. You can get it on there. Haven't heard a whole lot about it. Don't know much about it. I saw a trailer for it.
I'll have to check out a trailer.
It looked like you remember in Ghost when all the demon shadows are coming after. That's kind of what this movie looked like. They took that one part of Ghost and made a whole movie out of it.
Great.
Basically, is kind of what they did.
I'm not a big Ghost fan, but
yeah. Oh, Swayze was intoxicating. Come on. Couple things I've been hearing rumors about: possible Evil Dead sequel. If it does happen, it won't get going for some time.
Is that Sam Raimi back in that? Or
Sam Raimi, yeah, he will only do it if Bruce Campbell does it.
Well, you better do it.
And it'll either be called Evil Dead 4 or Army of Darkness 2.
Which, I mean, make a sequel, don't remake it.
Right, well, they are doing a remake. And that's why it's gonna...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why it's gonna be some time, if it even happens, is that Sam Raimi is busy producing the remake of Evil Dead.
Okay.
So, which, who knows how that'll turn out, but... Also heard rumors about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D.
Oh, great.
New modern storyline is what they're saying.
Modern? How can you expand on that storyline? It's the same storyline for every fucking movie.
Exactly. I mean, what new are you really gonna do with it?
No.
I mean, this would be the second remake of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you fucking thinking? Really? Like, come up with.
You know what? I think. When that movie first came out, I think I saw it maybe once or twice because my buddies wanted to see it. But I tried to watch it pretty recently, and other than isn't Jessica Biel in it or?
Yes, she was.
That's the only good thing about the movie. I mean.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's always on like an MTV or something. But,
right.
Yeah, it's the new generation of horror fans.
Yeah.
Which is the crappy generation of horror fans.
And I mean, to some people maybe it was a brutal movie, but to people like us and people like you who are listening, I'm sure it was just a total kind of puff piece.
Yes.
Really. The one that I did like was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning.
Beginning.
Yeah,
Is that
that was the most recent one.
Okay,
that they did.
that wasn't too
kind
bad.
of a prequel to the remake.
Okay.
You know, it had Arlie Ermy in it again, which in the fucking the beginning, I thought Arlie Ermy was awesome. He was just hardcore ruthless in that movie, and I thought that was, you know, probably the better, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Yeah,
I liked it a lot better than the remake of the original.
I think I've only checked that one out once. I might have to sit down and rewatch that.
I'll let you borrow it. I have it.
All right.
It was good.
All right.
I thought. But the scariest fucking thing about this Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, I think, is that the guy who wrote the remake of The Grudge is writing this one.
Oh, great.
And that just, that kind of scares me.
Who wrote The Grudge, you know?
Oh, I don't remember what the hell his name is. Samuel something.
Sam really doesn't fucking matter because he sucks.
Yes. Sam sucked my ass.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that was the, you know, I was looking at some of this stuff, and I was looking at, what was it, upcominghorrormovies.com.
That's usually used to be a good site, actually.
Yeah. They had a little thing on the side of the screen that said most popular movies, and 3/4 of those movies were remakes or sequels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, can we not come up with an original thought, for God's sake?
Hollywood's dead right now.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And yeah. And which brings me gladly to a couple other things that I wanted to share with everybody. A movie called Super.
Yeah.
Directed by James Gunn, who did Slither.
Okay, yeah, Slither was great.
Yeah, James Gunn's awesome. It stars Rainn Wilson from The Office.
Yeah.
Liv Tyler, Kevin Bacon, Ellen Page. I should have probably mentioned her first because she's amazing in this movie.
Yeah.
She just, some of the shit that comes out of her mouth, you're just like, holy crap, holy crap. But they're just going kind of city by city with this movie. It's they kept it unrated, which I very much appreciate.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of, like I said, going city by city with it. Some more release dates that they have coming up here in the next few weeks. May 17th in Bar Harbor, Maine. That goes through the 22nd. May 27th in Honolulu and Greeley, Colorado.
Ooh.
June 3rd in Omaha.
Ooh.
Yay! We're not from Omaha, by the way.
No, we're just fucking bullshit.
June 6th in Atlanta and Durango, Colorado. I believe in Durango, Colorado, it's 4 days only. And June 8th in Jackson, Wyoming at the Center for the Arts for 1 day only, people.
So is that a video on demand too? Was that?
It is, yes.
Okay.
It is actually. You can get it on demand.
I thought I heard that. I don't know for sure, but yeah.
I watched it 2 fucking nights in a row.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was that good?
Oh, it was great. I freaking loved it. I ordered it one night. It was maybe 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I had it until 2 in the morning the following night. And I was waiting on my brother because my brother wanted to see it. So I was waiting on him to come over. And he got there maybe, I don't know, 10 after 2.
Yeah.
And I had the movie on pause.
Oh, great.
But it just cut me off right at like 2 o'clock or whatever the hell time it was. And so I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to order it again because I wanted to watch it again. So, yeah, it's that good. I really, really enjoyed that movie. It's a dark comedy, really, actually pretty violent.
Really?
Yeah, it's a fairly violent movie. Not like splatter, gory type of shit.
Yeah.
But just the tone of it is pretty violent. Great movie though. Highly recommend it. Check it out. Another movie that I've been hearing a lot of great stuff about is called The Super.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about a crazy superintendent.
Superintendent. Yeah.
Yes, of a building. And they just had their European premiere actually on May 6th in Germany at the Weekend of Fear Film Festival in Auschwitz. And the DVD release is going to be announced soon.
So is that subtitled or is that a?
No, it's American made.
Oh, it's American made.
Yeah,
okay.
American made. They just had their premiere in Germany on May 6th for that side of the world.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing a lot of great stuff about it. Really good buzz on this movie. I've seen trailers for it. We tried to get a screener, but they already had sent out all the screeners they were going to send out. They did tell me that there's a bunch, it's floating around on the internet if you want to find it on there. I think I'm personally going to wait for DVD.
Yeah, I'll wait for DVD,
because DVD, I think, is going to be coming sometime fairly soon. So I would rather see it like that personally. But yeah, I've been hearing great buzz about this movie. Look it up. You can find them they have their own page on Facebook. But yeah, definitely like Super and The Super support movies like this because, like I said before, a lot of people don't get to see these movies. And especially unrated stuff, a lot of theaters won't show because it's not rated. So anytime we get these movies coming around, we really need to get behind them because they're fantastic. So that's about all I got for news right now.
Okay. Well, sounds great. Let's take a little break. You're listening to Behind the Mask with Riverman
and The Lush.
If you've ever considered stepping behind the beaded curtain at a sleazy video store, if you've ever watched something so vile that you had to lock the door behind you, if you currently have a VCR still connected to your home theater, then get yourself over to Exploited Cinema at exploitedcinema.blogspot.com. Bat32 and J-Dog always keep it greasy, and remember to keep telling yourself
it's only a podcast.
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 Welcome back, trashy moviegoers. You're listening to Behind the Mask.
We are back. We got our new beers here.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
New beers.
Beers. Yes.
This is your boy Riverman
and The Lush.
And for this segment, we're going to be kind of going into movies we watched recently, Netflix or DVDs or what have you. Do you want to start out, Lush? What have you been watching this past week? Anything good worth?
One that I just watched last night actually was a French zombie flick called The Horde. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it actually. I a couple nights before had watched another French zombie flick called Mutants. Mutants. Which it was okay, so kind of had it seemed like they were trying for like a 28 Days Later kind of feel,
sure,
but with a different kind of twist on a zombie. It wasn't your, classic zombie. It was more,
So your fast zombies, or was it?
Well, no, it was more kind of they got real into this whole thing of this whole mutation process.
That's kind of cool.
It was different. I appreciated that. They kind of focus a lot in the beginning of the movie on this guy's the process of this guy's mutation, and kind of reminded me a little bit of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum, where he's pulling teeth out and his hair's falling out. And,
love Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
He's great. Yeah. Unfortunately, this one it was good kind of in theory, and I appreciated the fact that they kind of tried to do something a little different, but it was kind of slow. There was a lot of stuff that was like CG, which I didn't think looked that great. They had a kind of a mix between CG and practical effects, but the practical effects looked so much better, I thought, than the CG. It
wasn't a sci-fi original movie or anything, was
it was not that bad, no. But, they made a valiant effort, I thought, and it was okay. But, if you really, really want to see a fun, kick-ass zombie movie, The Horde was the way to go.
I'll have to check that. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Is that streaming on Netflix?
It is streaming on Netflix. Okay. You can find it on there. It was just a lot of fun. It's on our Facebook page. I I put something about it on there. Basically 4 vigilante cops plus ruthless Nigerian gangsters plus crazy-ass zombies equals the Horde. And it was just a really enjoyable movie, I thought. Some really memorable scenes, memorable lines. There's this older guy in it that he's an old war vet who's just like batshit crazy, and he's just loving every second of it.
Yeah.
That guy had me fucking rolling. But yeah, that one definitely is worth checking out. I don't know, what do you got?
I got a few nights ago. I actually for the first time I checked out Rick Rosenthal's Bad Boys with Sean Penn.
Sean Penn.
And Ali Sheedy. And it was fucking kick-ass, man. I can't believe I didn't... I've been meaning to watch this movie for the longest time because it's been streaming on Netflix forever.
Right.
And I never got around to watching it. And I checked it out. It's a gritty little prison flick. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, it just stuck with me. And then the couple days later, I was still thinking about that fucking movie because I love Sean Penn. He's one of my favorite actors. So
he's great.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, there's some ruthless scenes and some, it was just an all in all enjoyable movie. And you definitely whoever needs to check that out on Netflix. You got Netflix, you need to check out Bad Boys because I can't believe it waited so fucking long to see that.
Yeah. Couple more while we're on a Sean Penn kick was State of Grace.
Okay.
A good Irish mob flick.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
With him, Gary Oldman's fucking fantastic in that movie. And I believe Ed Harris was in that one too. That's a great movie. And then The Assassination of Richard Nixon with Sean Penn. He fucking knocked it out of the park in that movie.
Is that a pretty recent movie, Assassination of Richard Nixon?
That was, I think, it was a few years ago, came out. Maybe 2005?
Okay.
I don't know if it was as long ago as that, but that date just kind of stuck out in my head for some reason. But, great movie, though. I mean, Sean Penn that movie was so under the radar. I don't know why that didn't get more attention because he was fucking fantastic in it. And I believe it was based on a true story, too.
Yeah.
About some guy that just was obsessed with killing Richard Nixon, which, can't really blame him for, but yeah, those were a couple other good Sean Penn movies. But
yeah, the other one I ended up checking out, I actually checked it, I think 2 or 3 nights ago. It was maybe before or after Bad Boys. It was Cannibal Apocalypse.
Yes.
With John Saxon, and I was blown away. Like, I can't believe I put off watching this one too. It's like back-to-back great movies. I was like, because usually, I watch movies, like try to watch a movie every night, and it's usually, I'm so disappointed within, wasting my life watching these garbage movies.
Yeah, you get like a good one and then like 5 duds in a row. And
exactly.
Then, yeah. It's
hard to find that gem, but I just fell in love with this movie, man. This is totally early 80s, cannibal flick, and had some sleazy parts of John Saxon, and all in all, I mean, the special effects and everything, the practical effects were great in it, but I really dug that movie, and I'm gonna have to let you borrow my Netflix DVD, Lush, and
definitely
you'll have to end up checking that out because
sharing is good.
Yeah,
sharing is good. We like sharing.
I might get back into my cannibal kick and have to revisit Cannibal Ferox and of course Holocaust again. Yeah. It's been a while since I saw Holocaust.
Yeah, and, me too.
Because I'm digging the cannibal flicks right now. So
you remember Cannibal Campout, right?
That was great. I love
a lost '80s treasure.
Yeah. Shot on a VHS movie camera.
Yes.
Which I love that movie. That was some
lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
Actually, Riverman's girlfriend actually enjoyed that one too
she
with
did.
us.
I know.
Which I was very surprised about. I thought she was gonna just leave the room immediately, but she sat and laughed along with us during that one, which was cool.
Yeah, Lush and I could have made we could have probably put together, scraped a few bucks together and made the same practical effects.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Put that movie together, but yeah, that's a great little flick.
That was fun.
Yeah.
There's another one. What did I watch? La Petite Mort.
Okay.
It was a German flick, directed by Marcel something or other. I don't remember his last name now. But special makeup and gore effects by Olaf Iddenbach, who's pretty notorious. And that's pretty much what the movie was. It was pretty much a good showcase for his gore effects, which they look great. I mean, the gore was awesome in that movie. It was a little short on story. It was three friends traveling through Germany, I believe it was, and they kind of end up lost. They're in this smaller town, and they stop into this bar for a drink, and it ends up being this kind of fetish bar. Mm-hmm. And they have some not very polite words with the waitress, and the waitress gets pissed and makes a phone call, and pretty much they're fucked after that. And it's just pretty much scene after scene of different, the different tortures that they're putting these three people through. And that's basically the movie. Manouche played the kind of den mother of this whole of this little torture ring, and she's great. She's a nasty old broad, which I believe she's in The Super also, and I heard she's great in that. Ryan Nicholson, director of Gutter Balls, Live Feed, Hanger, the new one, Bleeding Lady, which was, I think, originally called Star Vehicle. Mm-hmm. But he presented it, it's just if you want to watch just something, nasty, gory, it was a good one to check out.
Sweet.
Not very involved, like I said, story-wise, but, if you're just looking for some good gore or something, it was a good one to check out.
Which kind of leads us into what we want to talk about next is party flicks. And you were talking about what, Ryan Nicholson? Yeah,
Ryan Nicholson's
and our party flicks, we came across a few flicks, you throw in with a party or whatever, group of friends or whatever, if you want to, gross them out or whatever the fuck you want to do with them. But,
good movies to throw on when you got a bunch of people together drinking and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Brings us into Gutter Balls, which, you said this one. I haven't seen Gutter Balls. I can't believe I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, you need to watch it.
It was streaming on Netflix, too, for a little while, and I ended up checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're putting it over like it was really good. So.
Yeah, which while I'm thinking about it, Hanger by Ryan Nicholson is streaming on Netflix right now.
Okay,
so
I'll have to
check that one out, everybody. There's a ruthless coat hanger abortion scene in that that just it was killer, man. It was pretty brutal.
Give you the willies.
Stars the beautiful Debbie Rochon, who I absolutely love. She's got a lot of big things coming up, which hopefully we'll talk more about in upcoming shows. But Gutter Balls is great. I mean, it's just so... You hate the characters in it so much, you just can't wait for them to die.
Is it setting like in a bowling alley?
It's in a bowling alley.
I saw that.
The killer is called the Bowling Bag Killer, and he wears a bowling bag over his head. And the movie's so ridiculous. It's just, it's so much fun. The deaths are amazing.
I hear they're amazing.
There's a death by 69.
Oh, God.
There's which I had never seen before, and I loved it. And Ryan Nicholson, I mean, he is not shy about they show you when the chick is sucking the guy's dick, they show it to you.
Yeah.
He's not shy about showing shit like that. He does not subscribe to the theory that less is more.
Yeah.
He likes to say that more is more.
Which is, less is more is good sometimes, but sometimes you want more is more.
It depends on what you're trying to do,
Exactly.
And he's not, he has no preconceptions about what he's trying to do. He's just trying to give you just a gross, fucking gory good time, and he's goddamn good at it. And yeah, Gutterballs is a great example of it. It's just a lot of fun. So that's a great party flick. Girlfriend from Hell.
Yeah, which you recently checked out on YouTube.
Yeah, I had seen it years and years ago.
I don't know if it was on VHS or because it was never.
I remember seeing it on. I think it was HBO.
HBO, okay.
Years ago, and I just watched it. You can watch most of the movie. I mean, they have the full movie on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's little parts cut out in between each segment that they did. But a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of great like one-liners in it. Stars Leanne Curtis.
Oh yeah.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I think that was the movie that like really gave me a big crush on her. She's just
very, very cool.
Ass kick. She's like the chick that would fucking like kick your ass, but she's hot and you love her.
Yeah.
And you were kind of scared of her though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I just thought that was totally hot, kind of like Joan Jett. I had a big crush on Joan Jett back in the day too, because I knew she could just totally kick my ass. But I just loved it. But yeah, that's a great movie. A lot of fun. Just a good old school 80s flick. Couple years later, starring Leanne Curtis again, wink wink, was Rock and Roll High School Forever.
Well, Leanne Curtis and the great Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman, yes.
Which
yes.
You gotta love Corey Feldman.
Yes.
And cool little story. Rock and Roll High School is actually how The Lush and I met.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, we were
working produce
in a local grocery chain and cutting fruit, and then we just started spouting off quotes to Rock and Roll High School Forever, which is, of course, supposedly the remake to Rock and Roll High School, which had the Ramones in it. Which
was it like a remake or was it like more of a sequel?
Yeah, it could have been a sequel.
Yeah, I think it was just like years later.
I was never really a fan of. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the first one. I'm not a fan of the Ramones, so that didn't help matters out. But
just had to be kind of like it was a time and place kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
If you were, alive back then,
exactly.
You probably would have been a fan of that. Whereas,
us,
it was more. It's a generation thing,
Yeah, grew up in, early 90s or whatever. I remember watching this on HBO, I recorded it off a VHS player. And,
I still have my
shit out of it.
I still have my recorded VHS copy of that.
Yeah.
Picked HBO.
Ended up picking my DVD up. I think it was released probably let's say 10 years ago on a double feature. I won't name the other movie because the other movie is just dog shit.
Junk.
Yeah. So, but I guess if you wanted to see titties or something, you'd enjoy it.
It was good for that.
And Al Lewis was in it. One of my favorite actors. From,
titties and Al Lewis.
From the Munsters, one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
But, that's Rock and Roll High School Forever, set back in the 90s, You have the Eradicators, a band from Reagan High that plays some pretty kick-ass tunes in the movie.
Yeah, Dare Dreamer.
Dare Dreamer.
Walks on the Razor's Edge.
Yeah, and if you're a fan of Feldman, let's just say you have to check this out because it's actually my favorite Feldman movie, which is pretty sad because he actually has some decent flicks, I can't get off this movie. It's got to be in my top 5 favorite movies just because of the one-liners. The characters are great. Just everything about the movie. It brings back my childhood pretty much.
It was a lot of fun.
And that's basically how me and the Lush met, cutting produce and talking some rock and roll quotes. And
I remember you couldn't believe that anybody else had seen that movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh fuck, I love that movie.
I know, just me and my brother, and I think we watched it 3 or 4 times for a week straight or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I just came over to your apartment, had a couple 40s and just kicked back and, watched some Rock and Roll High School, and
That was great.
I gotta say, my VHS copy, I have lost it, and it was pretty beat to shit by the time.
Yeah, mine
the
is.
time I did lose it. So I'm glad to finally picked it up on DVD, and I try to give it at least a viewing once every month, just to get back in the old rock and roll groove. So
you got to keep the good mental health.
That's right.
Yeah, as they say.
So
And another thing to bring up about that too is Mary Warnoff.
Mary Warnoff.
Oh, cult legend.
Fantastic.
She's great as Dr. Vader in the movie
Vader.
with her different attachments for her missing hand.
Yeah.
With her, she's got the claw, the
She's
whip.
got the whip.
Yeah, all kinds of shit. She's fantastic in that movie as the overbearing principal. Overbearing, like borderline, or well, not really borderline. She's fucking psychotic.
Oh God, yeah.
Really. She's great in that. So definitely want to make mention of her.
Yeah, and
in
if
that
you want to
movie.
see Corey and Leanne worship a refrigerator, a Frigidaire refrigerator, worship it and sing to it, and God,
Appliance worship.
appliance worship to me. Yes, it is, my brother. So, that's definitely one of my favorite flicks. So, if you haven't seen it out there, give it a watch. You know, you might not, like it as much as we do, of course, but it holds that place.
It's fun. Just remember yourself back in the early '90s, and have a little fun.
If you want to see Corey Feldman dance around like Michael Jackson, which he does in pretty much every movie, but that's why we love Corey Feldman. I mean, definitely check that shit out. And
So good party flicks, Gutter Balls, Girlfriend from Hell, and Rock and Roll High School Forever.
Yeah.
Check those out. They're fun.
Yeah, I got 3 for you. I mean, we'll have some more for you next week. Maybe we'll do, or 2 weeks. We never. Well,
Whenever.
Yeah.
Get around to
hopefully it'll be sooner than later.
Yes.
But our next show we might do movies to clear a room. We're kind of still working it out like we were telling you. But those are our party flicks for this week, and give those a check.
All right, well, we're going to take a little break, and coming up next here, we got RedRocket, our man coming to you with a little music news. So take a listen. It's going to be very informative. He is a good man.
And you're listening to Behind the Mask with the Riverman
and The Lush.
What's up, guys and germs? This is the RedRocket blowing up your podcast. Now, if you're like me, you know nothing goes better with a little horror than a little metal. And that's why here at Behind the Mask, we're bringing you this segment to keep you guys up to date on a little bit of that front. Like the guys told you before, it's new. This is our first podcast. Bear with us. It's only going to get better and better from here. But with this segment, we're going to try and give you guys headlines, reviews, what's coming soon, what's hot, what's not, and eventually answer some of your guys' submitted questions. First thing we're going to talk about today is something very, very near and dear to my heart, and unless you've been living under a rock lately, then you know what I'm talking about. It's the Big Four of thrash metal. Very, very big in our community, and a little bit controversial. Some people think that other bands should be included, and some should be not included. But we're going to go over first of the ones that are. I was actually there firsthand. I traveled to California for the Indio show. It was a pilgrimage for me, if you will. And I had the time of my life. It was a blast from the past. Now, this show was held in Indio on the Coachella Music Festival grounds, where normally they have the Coachella Festival, which normally you wouldn't catch me dead at. Indie music isn't my thing. Much respect. But what can I say? Metallica and Slayer were there this week, so I was there. And it was very pretty, very awesome. Couldn't ask for anything more out of a festival ground. Very surreal experience. We're going to start off with Anthrax. Of course, place wasn't quite filled up yet. There's some people that just weren't giving Anthrax the respect. To me, the place should have been packed the whole time. But they came out with a fury, and they brought their A-game, man. Joey Belladonna, they're back with him. Semi-original lineup. The Anthrax thing is a big mess, They're really controversial in the sense that they can't keep a singer. A lot of people are happy Joey's back. Me personally, I am a big fan of the John Bush era. I love John Bush, Armored Saint. is awesome, and the 90s were just unique, and I loved it. I thought they were great records. Stomp 442 and Sound of White Noise, their personal favorites. But the classic stuff still went over really, really well, and, I couldn't complain. They brought it. Up next, Megadeth. Of course, the audience growing a little bit more. What can I say? They're a fan favorite, and if you know Metallica, you know Megadeth, you know Dave Mustaine, you know his notoriety, and they played an awesome set. Granted, it was peak sunlight, it was hot as hell, and you could tell the sun was in the band's eyes, but you know what? They brought it, and they didn't let that slow them down. They played a very diverse set, spanning their entire career, pretty much everything except for the Risk album, and closed the set with an amazing performance of Holy War's The Punishment Due, which, by the way, is a thrasher piece, and arguably has like the 10 greatest guitar riffs of all time in one song, just my opinion. Now, third band on the bill, some people might argue that Mega should have got the bill right under Metallica, but it was Slayer. And I've seen Slayer quite a few times in the past, with our good friends Riverman, in fact. And you know what? I was a huge Slayer fan back when I was younger in high school and things like that, and I still am. That's never going to go away. But they were always showed up the past couple times I've seen them by the younger bands, so I honestly wasn't expecting much. I thought Megadeth was going to pretty much own them, but I was wrong, man. They really brought it. They almost stole the show. So much energy, and just the thing that really helped them out, they had the set list from hell. It was awesome. And in the middle, they came out with a medley of Raining Blood that merged right into Black Magic before the solo started in that one, and I could have had a heart attack. It was just so amazing. You top that off with a little Postmortem, and you can't go wrong. And another highlight to this show, Gary Holt of Exodus filled in for Jeff Hanneman, who was still out due to an infection from a spider bite. And to me, some people might be disappointed. I thought it was awesome. I'm a big Exodus fan. Never seen Exodus personally, and I've seen Jeff Hanneman, so I thought it was a really, really good treat, and he played his heart out. And we got a little bit of the best of both worlds. Jeff Hanneman came in for the last two songs of the encore, South of Heaven and Angel of Death, his trademark, and gave the fans a little bit of what they wanted there. So it was a win-win overall. And finally, whether you love them or you hate them, it's the band that the majority of the people were there to see, Metallica. I catch a lot of flack for it sometimes, but I'm the hugest Metallica fan. I've been listening to Master of Puppets ever since I was in the womb. I can thank my father for that one. So they've always been like Santa Claus to me. And a sports team in that sense too, where I'm going to be with them when they're winning and they're losing, And I've been there the whole ride. And I've seen them more times than I can count, and this was no different in the sense that they stole the show. Granted, they have the stage show. They didn't quite give the opening bands full use of the stage. Metallica had more monitors, pyro, they had nighttime, they had all that going for them, granted. But even with that stage show, nobody else can compete to those songs. They came out blazing with staples, anthems. They come out, first thing they do is play Creeping Death. It's a festival staple, and it was just hit after hit after hit. And when they play festivals, they tend to keep it pretty familiar, they like to play the anthems, the familiar songs for a lot of people that are there that maybe haven't seen them before. But this one, they did pull out one rarity, and that I've never heard before, and I was very happy to see it. They played Orion, which I think they've only played a couple times in the past few years, and that's it. So I felt really honored. And Rob Trujillo did Cliff Burton, justice. It was amazing. So all in all, it was a great experience, other than the fact that it took me 3 hours to find my car at the end of the show. That was rather miserable. But you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything because it was an amazing show. And at the time, it was supposed to be the only show, but now it looks like the people on the East Coast are going to have their fix as well. As soon as that was done, they announced that Yankee Stadium show was going to happen. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to make that one too. But yeah, do yourself a favor and check that out. Now, as I said before, the Big Four tour and just even the Big Four moniker is very controversial. If you guys have any opinions of any of the bands that you think should be there or should not be there, feel free to leave some feedback on the website. Me personally, I think, no disrespect towards Anthrax. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the 90s stuff. The 80s stuff is hit or miss for me. I think Testament belongs there. I like Testament better than Slayer. I don't know about Megadeth. That's pretty close. But Testament are so overrated it hurts. They got a strong following in the underground, but to me, they deserve all the attention Slayer gets. And, maybe even Metallica gets. They're great. Alex Skolnick, he's the Randy Rhoads of heavy metal. That's the way I've always saw that man. So I think they should be there. What about you guys? Let us know on the Behind the Mask Facebook. Next up, what's new in metal? Here's my review of the album for this week, Children of Bodom's Reckless, Relentless Forever. Now, guys and gals, it's time for our very first album review. I chose to do the Children of Bodom record. Why? Because Children of Bodom, could be controversial to some of you guys. And me, they're a band that honestly hasn't delivered in the last couple albums, so I really wanted to review this one. It's called Relentless Reckless Forever, and to be honest with you, I didn't like the last couple. They really disappointed me. You had Blood Drunk, and then you had Are You Dead Yet? Are You Dead Yet was a little too far removed from my taste from the sound that I grew to love from this band, whereas Blood Drunk initially grabbed my attention, but it grew to be very stale. It was a step in the right direction, just still not quite there. Definitely not up to the par of Hatebreeder or Follow the Reaper, which my heart totally belongs to. But we're going to go on a track by track and give you the highlights. It all kicks off with Not My Funeral. It's one of the faster songs on the album, with a slick, blackened Metallica reference style riff with a totally bitchin' lead and breakdown. Probably my favorite lead on the album. Goes straight into Shovel Knockout, which is sort of an I don't care what people think anthem, and it's totally worth mentioning just for the single lyric where Alexi screams, "You can kiss my Nordic pale white ass," which just resonates in me. Even though I'm not Nordic, I do have a pale ass, so I can relate. Then you have the title track. It's got a little bit of everything with it. It's got a great groove and that familiar COB keyboard melody trademark, which as a whole, this album is a lot more straightforward. It's not as keyboard reliant as their normal sound is. It's very raw, straight ahead, and even the guitar production is very raw to me. So this one is a little bit more familiar to most people. Then we have a key track of mine. It's called Ugly. It's the second track on the record to open up with a movie audio sample reminiscent of Days of White Zombies. So that brought back some memories for me. Almost forgot where I was for a minute. And then my personal favorite song on the album, Cry of the Nihilist. As a guitar player, I have to point out that the most fun and riff candy packed track is definitely this one. But as a whole, this is a really, really solid album. I want to definitely spend some more time with it to grow on it even more, because it's definitely worth it and it has that appeal. It's my favorite since Hate Crew Death Roll. So just definitely give it a spin. And feel free to leave any comment on our Facebook page if you have any disagreements about this review, or just your opinion on Children of Bodom in general, Like I said, I think if I had to give any criticism to the album initially, after giving it a couple spins, I think the vocals, the sound of the vocals, they use the same kind of effect on the vocals on every single song, and it's really regurgitated, processed with effects, and it's really buried in the mix. That's probably the only thing I would change at this point, but I'm really digging it, guys. And, if you guys have any disagreements with this review, or Children of Bodom, or just any comments in general about this segment, feedback is welcome. Hit it up on the Facebook page of Behind the Mask. Upcoming releases, we're still fresh, we're still new and trying to get the hang of this. To be honest with you, there's not really a whole lot I can honestly say I'm looking forward to in the next coming weeks. The stuff that I'm really dying to hear is still, months off. I'm really dying to hear, of course, the new Opeth. Huge Opeth fan. I can't wait for that. And what's on? I'm a big prog head, big prog metal fan, and just progressive rock music fan in general. And what's got my interest is the new project between Steven Wilson of Porcupine Tree and Michael Okefelt of Opeth. And the working title of this is called Storm Corrosion. Now, these two men can do no wrong in my eyes, and the fact that they're getting together, is like the first time you saw Batman and Superman together. It's just that epic. Originally when this was hyped up, it was just a rumor. It was just hyped up, and it's just sort of something that kind of grew legs of its own. You know, nobody ever committed to this. Nobody ever really had any plans of it. It just grew a life of its own, and it got pretty much brought up in every interview with the gentleman I mentioned. And originally, Mike Portnoy of Giant's Dream Theater was supposed to be in on this little pact of music. But when Michael and Steven got together to finally start work on the songs and meet the fans' demands, they discovered that the stuff that they were coming up with just didn't really have any room for drums, which is a huge bummer for me. You know, I'm not always a fan of supergroups. It doesn't always spell success, you know, despite the sum of each individual member's achievements. But me as a huge progressive metal fan and a huge Dream Theater fan, I get a lot of flack for that as well. So feel free to hit that up on Facebook too. But, you know, the idea of Michael, Steven, and Mike Portnoy all together was just, I wanted to have a heart attack. But sadly, he won't be a part of it, and that's really sad. But I'm sure it's going to be awesome nonetheless. Now, speaking of Mike Portnoy, he's all over the news. If you follow sites like blabbermouth.net, maybe you're one of the haters that comments on that stupid site, but I'm guilty. I follow it and I watch it. It's just like a car crash. You really can't look away from it, in my opinion. You know, he's been real controversial lately. You know, he left Dream Theater last year, helped out Avenged Sevenfold record the drum tracks on their album. You know, some hardcore progressive elitists think, you know, he's too good for a band like Avenged Sevenfold. You know, they have a different fan base. Children, teenagers, whatever you have it. But you know what? That's one thing. He agreed to go out and tour with them, though. And some say that was the decline of his interest in Dream Theater and sparked him to quit the band abruptly. But, you know, they have a replacement. They announced it. Session musician Mike Mangini, formerly he's played with Annihilator, he's played with Extreme, and he's played with Steve Vai. So pretty eclectic there. You know, has been announced as the official replacement for Mike Portnoy. This is really sad for me. You know, I don't know. Mike Mangini's awesome. He's definitely got the skills. He's an amazing drummer. But, you know, for me, I never would have thought someone like Mike Portnoy would be out of this band. As much as Mike Mangini's awesome, Mike Portnoy's like taking John Lennon out of the Beatles on a much smaller scale, I understand. Or, you know, Lars Ulrich out of Metallica. You know, he's a very, very vital piece of that band. So when I heard that news that he left, my jaw was dropped. Because they've never really been a real open in the press about airing their dirty laundry. So I always thought everything was just hunky-dory in their camp. And me being such a fanboy, I was really disheartened. And I usually don't care about such things. You know, it takes a lot to really move me. But I haven't been so musically brokenhearted since Lane Staley passed away in 2002. So it actually really bothered me to the point where I didn't even want to listen to Dream Theater for a few months. But, you know, it's all starting to soak in, and I think every one of us is really looking forward to hear the album. Just out of curiosity, if anything, you know, Mike Portnoy, it has been controversial in the sense that he's been bringing a really modern influence to the band in the last few albums. Really much heavier and, like I said, more modern, whereas the old Dream Theater was really, it was progressive metal, but it was really linked to classic progressive rock, you know, not a whole lot of down tuning, possibly even some more obscure song structures, but, you know, so the fan base is really divided by that. Some people are happy he's gone. Some people think it's really refreshing and he only brought, you know, the band down. You know what? I can agree that maybe some aspects of them are getting stale. You know, I would have loved for them to come out next with an album that was more reminiscent of Awake or, you know, even Scenes from a Memory, my personal favorite. But you know what? I wanted them to do that with Mike Portnoy, because despite any flaws anywhere, Mike Portnoy was the driving force of that band. I've seen them live, and I don't know what they're going to do without Mike, because he was the only front man I ever knew that sat behind a kit. He worked that crowd. He was the energy. So now without him, we'll just have to see how it goes. But anyway, that's going to lead us into our very first Hot or Not Showdown. This is where we want you to go to our Facebook page or even our Blogspot page and sort of cast your vote on which you think is better. You know, and today's subject is, are you happy about Mike Portnoy's departure and love that Mike Mangini has taken over and that fresh sound? Or do you want Dream Theater to stay the same? So what are? Team Portnoy, Team Mangini. Log into Facebook, Behind the Mask, and let us know what your thoughts are. And that concludes our very first installment of Behind the Masks Metal Update. I'm the Red Rocket. I'm blasting off out of here. It's hot. I'm melting like a snow cone in Phoenix out here. I'm going to go inside and cool off. Keep it metal, guys.
Well, the beers are talking, Lush.
And we're back.
We're back.
Welcome back to Behind the Mask, here with the Lush and
Riverman.
It has come to the part of the show that we are going to do our in-depth review of Singapore Sling on this show. Great movie. A little obscure, but not impossible to find.
No, you can find it.
I actually found it at Suncoast Movies.
Yeah, and Synapse put this out.
Synapse did, yep. They released it.
I think it was early 2000s, I want to say, but...
Yeah. And it's, like I said, not impossible to find. I think I paid $30 for it. Mm-hmm. So it's, a little bit pricier, but a great title to have in your collection.
Usually the Synapse films are pretty pricey, but, I mean, transfers for them are usually great. So,
yeah, they do a good job.
All the Synapse films, like, I haven't really came across a Synapse film that I really didn't like. Mm-hmm. Especially the transfers, so...
Yeah.
Definitely check out Synapse, I mean, if you haven't...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always...
seen their shit before.
I've always been pleased. I was pretty pleased with this one.
They also put out Street Trash, which is, you know, a classic. I mean, if you haven't seen Street Trash, I mean, you definitely need to check that one out, too, but... we're going into Singapore Sling, made back in 1990.
1990, directed by Nikos Nikolaidis.
Nikos?
I think that's how you say his last name. I'm not sure.
That sounds pretty
Nikolaidis. Sure. Starring Meredith Harold, Panos Tanasoulis, I think is how you say that, and Michelle Valley. Which, the two female leads in this movie is really, I think, what carries it. Yeah. I mean, it's a great movie, don't get me wrong, but the two female leads are just standouts. I mean, it's really, they're just phenomenal in the movie. Really spastic, like, fucking weird performances by them.
Over the top.
Over the top, yeah.
There's only 3 characters in the actual movie, so...
Right.
They don't get really in depth into into their backgrounds, but... Mm-hmm. You can tell they have pretty fucked up backgrounds.
Right.
Especially the 2 broads.
Oh, yeah, they're nuts. So, basically, the setup of the movie, it's, this movie is really, it looks like 40s era film noir, which I'm a big sucker for. I love film noir, which we will, I think, maybe get into at some point, in the course of these podcasts. Just because I like it, I don't care if you don't, but I do. So, and we're the ones doing it.
I do enjoy it too.
Yeah. Anyway, this it looks very 40s film noir, and it very much feels that way too. Based on the writing and. Some of the music and all that, it has that feel to it. But the story and the content is just so fucking weird and
you know what?
strange.
I haven't seen anything like it. I mean, it's just there's some scenes that are just so over the top. Like I was caught off guard in some of the scenes. They were just, I would say, pretty fucked up. I mean, you have to there's a lot of sex in the movie, so if you're
very, very sexual movie, yes.
Yeah, if you're one of those, people that enjoy a good sex scene, or I don't know if you even want to call it a sex scene. Yeah,
it's not glamorous.
No, hell no.
Really,
by any means, no.
Not your typical Hollywood sex scene.
If you like fruit and sex, maybe you like it.
Or vomit and sex.
Or vomit. Yes.
It's not... I mean, the movie looks fucking glamorous. I mean, it's beautiful black and white, it looks great. But yeah, some of the content is a little disturbing and out there. If you're, a jaded person that's seen a lot of the shit that, we've seen these days, you might not be shocked by it, but...
You know what? Now I've seen a lot of shit, and I was actually kind of shocked by some of it.
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty fucked up movies, but this one was a different little flick, and I like the whole black and white aspect to it. It added something to it where it just made it that much more memorable to me. So
definitely. So. Basically, the setup of the movie, we begin, it's raining, and we're in a car with this guy who's it seems like he's a private
detective.
Yeah, private detective kind of guy. And he's on the trail of his lost love, Laura. And...
which we don't see in the movie.
Right, we do not see Laura in the movie, but... as he goes through his little monologue, which I think, as I said before, it's pretty well written, very 40s-esque. So he's going through his monologue, and as he's doing it, we're seeing these two women who happen to be mother and daughter, basically half naked, digging a grave. And... just so happens they're putting their chauffeur into this grave, who's still kind of half alive.
Which they refer to their chauffeur quite a bit in the movie.
Yeah, they do come back to that a few times, yeah. So they're digging this grave for him, and our detective is kind of witnessing this, but he's stricken with a gunshot wound, which we... don't really know where that came from, but he's bleeding to death, basically. And so he crawls in the back seat to pretty much die.
Yeah.
And then they end up finding... I think he crawls out of the car at one point, doesn't he?
He has some sort of epiphany or something where he can't,
Right.
Can't stop looking for his lost love.
Right, he has to keep going.
Yeah. So, he crawls on the doorstep, and then the daughter ends up finding him on the doorstep.
Mm-hmm. And then they bring him inside, and what ensues is just kind of some weird madness. I don't know. They bring him in, and they're kind of trying to find out who he is. The daughter searches his pockets and finds a gun, which she kind of rubs on her snatch, and then smells it. For some reason,
pretty fucked up.
She likes the
little devil's rejects action.
yeah.
You're gonna rust the barrel.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She likes the cock stink.
I know.
On the gun, but they find the note on him, and something in the note that says Singapore Sling.
Yeah.
And so that's what they dub him as, Singapore Sling. That's what they refer to him as. That's the name that they give him. And obviously that's the name, where we get the name of the movie.
And he can't talk. Well, he doesn't talk throughout the whole movie.
Right. He's dehydrated.
Dehydrated, yeah.
Really weak from his wound, losing the blood. Right. Mm-hmm. So you don't hear much from him at all for pretty much the whole goddamn movie. But so they start calling him Singapore Sling, which is where we get the title. And so they end up tying him to the bed, and there's a series of pretty much rapes.
Well, yeah. If you call...
I wouldn't call it rape, but...
You wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. But they have him tied to a bed, and the daughter character comes in and gives him a good ride, but during the ride, she vomits on his face, which could be a little off-putting.
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
For some people, I wasn't really expecting that either.
Then they pull out the electrocution and all that. The
electrocution, shit. Yeah. There's, this movie, there's a lot of just weird taboos in this movie. There's bondage. Yeah. There's the vomiting, of course. There's the obvious incest between mother and daughter, because they kind of get it on with each other.
Which, I don't know how they're mother and daughter, because they're pretty much the same age,
Yeah,
it looks like
it looks like it, yeah.
So,
but, we like to pretend, so.
yeah, we're in a fucked up society.
That's right. And, some of the scenes between the mother and daughter are kind of hot, I thought. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucked up, but it was a little intriguing to me. But anyways,
So basically, yeah, they take the detective, which they name Singapore Sling. They take him as their kind of, slave type of thing.
Yeah.
As sex slave, whatever you want to call him. And they don't give him water or any.
Well, they do, like, very little.
Yeah,
like,
very little.
They just give him little tastes, here and there. And give him that little bit of water. And then they have, like, the dinner table scenes.
Yeah.
Which are just fucking kind of gross.
Yeah, it was weird because I think they start to eat their food and then they start, like, chewing it and spitting it out.
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck's going on?
Like mother bird, baby bird kind of thing or something. I don't know, man.
It doesn't make. I didn't really understand that shit, but it was actually kind of weird.
Yeah, a little regurgitation going on there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, those dinner scenes are just, and they go on for a little while. I mean, it's it's not something that's real quick. They take their time with it. And just really immerse you in that, like you're there.
Yeah.
And you really get to kind of feeling like you're a part of that dinner, which is not a dinner party I would really want to go to.
And they didn't want to, for some reason, they didn't want to feed Singapore Sling. Of course, they didn't want to give him water. Mm-hmm. But they wanted him to talk, which didn't make any sense. Like, they kind of used it as leverage, the whole water thing, to get him to talk.
Yeah.
But yet he never said a word. Right. Which, I don't know.
I don't know if that was him, just being defiant.
Yeah,
or,
that's true.
Or just the fact that he was that weak or what. But I think that he was, I don't know, in my opinion of it, my take on it was he was just like being defiant and he didn't want to give these crazy bitches, anything, but
so after the dinner scene, they're kind of trying to get. I mean, of course, they're trying to get Singapore Sling to talk.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like there's jealousy. There becomes jealousy between the mother and daughter, because like the daughter sneaks off, to come see Singapore Sling, at times. And at one point, the mother catches the daughter in there with him, and she fakes a heart attack. Which, it almost kind of seems like it could be one of their little games that they play. Because they play all these little games. Like in the beginning, there's a whole thing about a secretary, which happens to be Laura that Singapore Sling is looking for. And they do this whole thing of Laura's interview. And it involves the mother wearing a strap-on and the daughter blowing the strap-on. And then,
which caught me off guard.
Totally. And then the mother bends the daughter over a desk, and it was like the mother was playing the father role. And
then there's flashbacks to the father.
To the father, yeah, which they kind of allude to the fact that the father molested the daughter, and there's a really weird scene in which the daughter is kind of narrating. She's telling, a story, while this figure of her father, which happens to be a mummy, which is really strange, is getting her doggy style while she's talking about her father molesting her, which it's just fucked up. It's really weird. So yeah, they kind of go on through this whole sexual torture, sexual torture kind of thing, and role playing, a lot of bondage. There's electrocution, all kinds of weird shit, And then Singapore Sling, toward the end, starts gaining a little more strength, I think, right?
Yeah, he starts gaining more strength. They basically want to... They're trying to put into his head that... What they're trying to do is they're trying to brainwash Singapore Sling into thinking the daughter is actually Laura.
Right.
They see a portrait of the daughter on the wall, and they keep telling Singapore Sling that this is Laura. So...
And then the daughter, she basically pretends to be Laura, and she starts doing this whole weird, like, role-playing thing, like she is Laura, and she comes in and says, "Oh, Singapore Sling, you know, where have you been? You're looking for me, blah, blah, blah," you know, shit like that, just to fuck with his head, really, you know? And so he starts thinking, oh, okay, he's so out of it by this point, you know, that he's like, is this Laura? Like, you know, that kind of thing. And it just, yeah, it fucks him all up. And, but then towards the end, he, I think, ends up getting wise, you know, to their shenanigans. And he ultimately takes his revenge on him.
Yeah.
Which did the daughter kill the mother? Or how did that
They
happen?
end up plotting. Well, we don't want to give too much away, but
yeah, we don't.
They do end up plotting against the mother because the mother is jealous of Singapore Sling and the daughter.
Right.
Because of the infatuation with the daughter and Singapore Sling.
Right. But Singapore Sling ultimately takes his revenge. And it's in a pretty nasty way, too.
Oh, yeah. It kind of ties into the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, with the whole secretary. Won't give too much away, like we were saying, but it's definitely a cool little ending to it. Mm-hmm. And it ties everything together so well.
It does.
That I really...
It all kind of comes full circle, almost.
And at first, after I watched this movie, I really didn't know what to think about it. And then, you know, after a couple of days of processing, which usually happens with me in movies, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was something different, something I don't normally see, and especially for a early '90s flick. I haven't heard too much about this until Lush said something about it and picked it up. And I'm glad we got to check it out, and you threw it my way.
Mm-hmm. So for a lot of the, you know, jaded people out there, I mean, this isn't, you know, if you're that jaded, it's not going to shock you. I mean, it didn't. I mean, there were parts of it that were a bit shocking, you know, to me even, and I've seen a lot of shit, but you know, once you've seen kind of the worst of the worst, and if I'm saying the worst of the worst and you know what I'm talking about, then you are probably a jaded movie watcher, just like I am, and we will talk about the worst of the worst here on one of these upcoming shows. So yeah, this one, I mean, it's not gonna, you know, it might not shock you too much, but just think about yourself watching this back in 1990, you know, and how shocked might you have been by it then, because they do some weird shit in this movie.
I haven't seen many things like it. The whole black and white and film noir aspects of it really popped to me. I mean, the quality was great. What shocked me was probably some of the sex scenes, I'd have to say.
Yeah, they were strange.
A little strange, and eating at the dinner table scene, which is kind of a dinner table scene that I haven't seen before.
Yeah, it was a little off-putting.
But yeah, it's definitely worth a check out, and I'd recommend it.
Highly, yeah.
Because it's still stuck with me, let's just say that. Most movies, I forget with the next day what the fuck I was even watching, so definitely track this down. Find it Netflix if you can, or wherever you gotta go, and yeah, let us know your feedback too on the movie. We want to know what you guys think.
Definitely, yeah. Drop us a line, let us know what you think of it. And if you have a hard time finding it, let us know that too, and maybe we can point you in the right direction, or we'll see what we can do to help you out. So definitely let us know.
And leave as much feedback as you can on Facebook or Blogspot, or even even just, shoot us an email about anything. You just want to bullshit or do whatever on behindthemaskpodcast.gmail.com, and we'll try to answer your questions. Even RedRocket, he wants your feedback too. If you got any music questions or concerts you want to know, if they're worth checking out, if you don't want to waste your money on them, if they suck, let him know, and he'll point you in the right direction also. So from there. So I think we're going to take a little break, come back, wrap up the show, and tell you guys who we're going to be talking about here in the next few weeks. So in that, you're listening to Behind the Mask.
Hey, so thank you very much for listening to our first show.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and checking us out. I'm sorry that it's a little choppy tonight, and
a little rough.
And we're gonna come to you hopefully in the next couple weeks, and we're gonna bring you a little longer show because it's gonna be kind of short tonight because we're still working all the kinks out. But
we very much appreciate all you guys listening to the show, and we want to give a very special thanks out to some of our supporters. HorrorHappyHour.com.
Who do you got over at Horror Happy Hour?
Chris and Dave.
Oh yeah, they're cool as shit.
Very, very good people. Check out the website, HorrorHappyHour.com. They have everything from, horror movies to comic books. It's just everything horror related. They're great, and they're very, very cool people. So check out HorrorHappyHour.com. They're the best. And
I gotta give a shout out to my homeboys at Exploited Cinema.
Exploited
Cinema podcast. Bad 32 and J-Dog.
Yes.
They're always keeping it sleazy over there at Exploited Cinema.
And greasy.
Keeping it greasy too, as J-Dog would say.
Yeah.
But go over to their blog spot. They're great guys, and they probably have the best podcast out there right now.
Yeah.
So
us freaks gotta stick together.
That's
man.
right. Next week we have Director of the Month, which will bring us Ty West. With 2 great movies. We got
House of the Devil.
And
one of them.
And we have The Roost.
The Roost.
So, yeah. Yeah. There you go, Lush.
And we will also be talking about a bit of controversy. Ooh, scary. Surrounding the release of a Serbian film, which is fucking hardcore, like you don't even know. We're going to talk about some of that next show. So, stay tuned and come back to us. Keep it fucking sleazy, bitches. Yeah.